seniors and active agers. I am Jean Green, and I'm very grateful that I get to teach and keep you all active physically, as well as when you feel physically good and stronger from exercise, it overflows into your headspace, and your thoughts and your mind feels bigger, better, stronger, and also your emotions feel just a little bit happier and more enjoyable for whatever environment or state that you're in. So join me with whatever exercises feel appropriate to you. Remember, gravity is resistance, so you do not have to use the bands for any, some, or all of the exercises. It's always a choice to use the band. You can also start using the band and then part of the way through the exercise, stop using the band, especially if you have one injury on one side and you don't have the injury on the other. You don't have to do both sides identical. So we are using the bands for a really specific reason. It's called adaptability. And as an occupational therapist, that is one of my favorite words that I learned the first day of class in an occupational therapy program. And adaptability is what we're going to do with our muscles. We are going to add some type of challenge to them, little or a lot. That's your choice. I'm just going to demonstrate. The colors help you decide how much and you want to adapt and how little you can or want to adapt. So we're going to make our musculoskeletal system adapt to a challenge. And we're going to add force. We're going to add a challenge. And it's a positive challenge, so make sure you keep that challenge positive, not painful. And we want it to handle something greater so that it can change and adapt to that change, and that's how we get stronger physically, emotionally, and mentally. So we are not just improving our muscles. We are improving the strength of our bones by adding resistance. We are improving our muscle mass and endurance. We're improving the connective tissue. That's all the other stuffing inside our body. Fascia and different names besides muscles and joints and ligaments and bone. So we're improving all the other stuffing or connective tissue in our body. Adding resistance, strength with the bands, or just strength by pushing up against gravity. We're also improving heart disease, diabetes, reducing the probability of falling. So I love to remind myself that every time I do something that challenges my strength, I'm reducing the probability of falling. And then it also helps improve my posture. Love looking stronger, better, and healthier with an improved posture. And then it also protects my joints. So weakness will kind of soften the joints and the bones and the connective tissue, loosen up those joints or tighten them up in the wrong way. So we want to make sure we're protecting our joints by keeping all of the tissue surrounding our joints strong and healthy by adding a challenge, which makes them adapt to that positive force. So the first thing we're going to do for our challenge is pick your own music. So I've had feedback that my voice is hard to hear and it conflicts with the music. So I'm going to let you pause this if you need to, pick out your own music in the background, pick out the volume of music that you need in your environment. And you can pick no music or really soft, gentle music, anything in between. If it helps motivate you and excite you, pick different music every time you do this video. So there will be no music so that you can hear my voice and my instructions. I will be watching the clock for 30-second and 60-second and sometimes even 5, 10, or 15-second increments, and sometimes I'll be counting repetitions. So you can keep up to the beat of your own music, or you can just pick your own beat or speed. So we've taken about 2 minutes to get to know each other And I hope you're as excited about starting to move as I am. So the first thing we're going to do for resistance is stand up against gravity and also sit without support. So as you notice, I'm not using the back of my chair. I'm using posture. I'm sitting up with what we call neutral spine. So I'm lifting my chest. I'm naturally lifting my tailbone and letting my shoulders roll back and down, tops of my shoulders away from my ears. And this is posture. So just sitting without the support of the chair or without the support of your armrests is a resistive challenge against gravity. So now we're going to resist that challenge by standing and sitting with control. So take your time. Make sure you feel like you're almost all the way back into the seat of your chair. This is a really great way to warm up. You can do these standing and sitting squats with a little bit more work and balance on one leg or equal on both. So we're just going to take about 8 of those to get warmed up. So the hands can be on our hips. If you're looking for more balance challenge, cross them here. If you need more help, reach out or use your chair. So let's stand and sit about 8 times, pushing into the heels as you stand up. Imagine there's a string like a puppet, and rather than pulling you forward, which is incorrect, I want you to stand and sit as if that string is pulling you directly up and directly lowering you down. For some people, this might be a little bit easier to do depending on your chair, so you have the side of your chair to help with balance. You can put a chair on both sides so both hands have the ability to hold a chair. So we're going to do this one more time. It's not how we start, it's how we finish. So let's try finishing one more, and our leg muscles are starting to get warm. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is try this now with more balance challenge. We're going to raise the arms overhead. That increases the strength of the middle of our body, our back. So you can raise and lower those arms. If you're really comfortable, you can increase the speed. You might need to visually check where your chair is occasionally to see if you're sitting down. Adding those arms, stretch the shoulders and chest. Thumbs go backwards towards the wall behind you. Again, pick your own speed. I might be going too fast, or you might be able to go just a little bit faster than myself. Alrighty, so we're still warming up. These big, strong leg muscles increase circulation and temperature in our body, and that's part of warm-up. So let's go ahead and use speed now as part of our warm-up. So I want you to think of the hand coming from the ear to a back pocket. If you have that range of motion, let's use your arms. So if you can use your arms, just do your arms. And let's just draw those elbows behind you. So we're just warming up the shoulders. Pick a comfortable speed where you could still recite the alphabet without sounding like you're out of breath. If this is going well, take a deep breath in through the nose. Let it out through your mouth. Get rid of any stress. All right, let's warm up those hands, arms, shoulders, fingers. Stretch them out. Let's try to do our thumbs up or palms up. And let's draw some circles. Draw those circles going backwards. And warm up those shoulders. It's okay to relax the elbows, but stretch out your fingertips and spread out your fingers. Good. Shoulders, shoulder girdle. Whew, gets rid of a little bit of stress in the upper body. Let's try those squats again. This time I want you to add less weight to your left foot and just give it a try. You might find that you only stood up a little bit. Make sure you have plenty of chair underneath you. So press into one foot and try more of a one-legged, standing, sitting squat. We've done about 2 or 3. Let's try to go for maybe 8. And then that way we can try the second side and compare. Can you do a few more? That might be your stronger side, or a few less. That might be a little bit weaker side. So let's try one more. Make this how you finish rather than how you start. Alrighty, take a big deep breath in, gather all that oxygen, stretch your arms up, lift your chest, maybe lift your gaze, even if you don't lift your chin. Oh, one more breath after this. Let's let it out really loud with a big sigh out. Alrighty, we're going to use the lungs too as part of this. So now we're going to put all the weight on our left foot as much as we can and try to put less weight on our right foot, maybe even to the point where when we stand up, we can lift that leg all the way up. So this is a harder, bigger challenge. For some of us, this is a wonderful challenge. For others, we're going to keep both feet on the floor and we mentally know we're putting more weight on our left leg. Maybe it's a toe touch. So we have maybe 2 to 4 more. Again, lifting this foot off the floor might not work for you. If you have something to help you with balance, 2 chairs, wall, table, you might have a little bit more confidence in lifting your foot off the floor. So let's finish that last one again. It's important how we finish. And it's important that we started, but we want to finish strong. All right, so let's get those legs moving. We've already moved the arms and shoulders. Let's start running with the feet. Sit tall. Use the belly button to the area below the belly button, nice and strong as you breathe out. Imagine you're a runner. We're going to get our chest to break the ticker tape finish line. We're getting warm with speed. We have just 5 more seconds. Stop when you need to. And we're done. Take that deep breath. Can you feel how good your heart is pumping? Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to do is stand on our feet. If you can't, you can try some reverse lunges from your chair. I'll show you that challenge first, and then I'll show you the challenge reverse lunging, and then reverse lunging with a band. So if you're a reverse lunger, you might be in this position where you're just going to try to help yourself up sideways from the chair. Maybe this is another good view. And you're just going to use the leg muscles and stretch. Remember not to put a lot of weight on your back leg. All right, let's just practice that on the second side. So one leg forward, the one closest to the back of your chair. Let the other leg drop towards the floor. Knee is off the floor, heel is off the floor. So it does require balance. And we're just going to stand up in a split or staggered stance with or without the help of the chair. Being able to be strong, stepping backwards, is just as important as what we kind of overuse, which is stepping forward, walking, climbing forward. So, but we will still want to use those backside muscles. Let's do one more, and then you can stay with this challenge. You can even just lift yourself up just a little bit to use more arm strength, if that works for you. We're going to start standing now for reverse lunges. So we have 2 chairs. We're using gravity. We have not used our bands yet. But to do a reverse lunge, make sure you know where your chairs are. Start with the help of knowing where those chairs are. Balance. Step back. Keep the back heel lifted. Let's do several on the same side. So we're stepping back with our left leg. We're keeping that string straight above us, pulling us up and down rather than forward leaning. We're going to take 2 more reverse lunges with the same leg we started on. Alrighty, let's try the second leg. Now tell yourself you're halfway there, rather than how many more do we have to do. Think about 2 more, maybe 3 more. Think about the last one you're going to do. Think about your posture, even if you're barely bending your knees. Alrighty, let's take that big breath in. Now we're going to add the weight to it, the resistance. So here's our band. Let's go back to our squats. One-legged is your choice. These are flat bands. Remember, different colors mean different resistance. You can add knots to the end of them or different tools in case you have a problem with gripping. Alrighty, so adding the band, we have a challenge with a squat, okay? So from the side view, it looks like this. There's a window behind me, and I'm going to try to break that window with my buttocks. So push the buttocks back, lift the chest, keep your gaze forward, don't look at the floor. Alrighty, now I'm going to try it with one leg and see if I can do more of a one-legged squat with my strength. Good. I can try light touch, little touch, no touch. So your one-legged squat, remember, still pushing your buttocks back towards the window behind you. Let's try the second side. I'll turn around. And now we have exchanged legs, and we're going to go down and up. Maybe you still are doing a squat with both legs side by side and separated, hip distance apart, or maybe this is your side that you can do a little bit more challenge on. Try that balance anytime. Remember, sit back into an imaginary chair. Why do we do this? Well, sometimes we have a bum leg and we need to stand up and sit down on the toilet. All right, let's do one more. Again, you can always pause this video at any time and keep doing more on your own. Alrighty, so now we're going to do reverse lunges with the band. We're going to step forward on it with one foot. Here's a little trick in case it's sliding off your foot. Put it on the top of your shoe, wrap it underneath, right to the left side, left to the right side, and now you have what I call like a more secure grip, a foot wrap. So I'm holding on to it. I can use a bicep curl, or I can use something out here with soft elbows. And I'm going to step back, less resistance on my arms, and now more resistance. The foot with the band does not move. So my left foot is my anchor. Do you have an anchor in your life? Do you have an anchor besides that front foot? Keep those anchors. Good, we're going to do 3 more on this leg. Are you breathing? And now we're going to exchange and take it down. If your band is not long enough or loose enough, it's too resistive, the arms might be feeling some problems at the shoulders. So be really careful of your shoulders when you're holding your arms out in front of you. But we do have to carry heavy objects in front of us, so we have to practice that sometime. All right, so I'm going to imagine I'm carrying a box that came from my front door all the way to the other side of my house, and that's what my arms are doing. That's why I'm practicing keeping them where they're at right now. Picture the object that's heavy that you might be carrying. We're going to try 4 more of these reverse lunges. Remember, you may not be using a band. You might be holding on to a table or your chairs and just practicing a reverse lunge, stepping backwards. We've got 1 or 2 more left. Good, and rest. Relax those arms down. Remember, the other version of that would be to curl the arms up and back for our biceps. So you always have those two choices. Now we're going to do what's kind of fun, is a band with a loop. If you don't have a band with a loop, we have two here. This one's brighter color, so I'm going to pick that so the camera can see it better. Pick the resistive color that you can use. Have a seat. If you're really trying to balance challenge, stand and put it around, but be careful. We are practicing staying on our feet, not falling. So it goes above the knees. We're working on our side hip strength. So first we're just going to tap out. If this feels like it's going to fall down, you need to add some more resistance or challenge. Make your loop smaller. If you need more balance, reach those arms out. Alternating is a little easier than trying to stay on one foot at a time, causing some stamina. So let's work on stamina. Let's stand on our right foot and try to tap out about 8 times. You're picking your speed. You're pushing this thigh out against the resistance of the band. All right, ready for the second side? Take a break and sit down. If you need to, pause the video. Join back in whenever you're ready. Rest breaks are fully allowed, as well as drinking water breaks. Anything you can drink. Keep hydrated. We want to choose drinks with less sugar or no sugar, less caffeine or no caffeine. Alrighty, so we have about 8 done on both sides. Alrighty, let's relax those arms a little bit. Again, if you have to stay seated, you're going to lean back a little bit and open up your hips to do this. Some days we need to sit. Some days we need to stand. So you can do this, tapping out. Notice my back posture is still strong and good, and I'm still getting a workout on my hips, but you want to try the best you can to open up the hips, take the crinkle, crease, that hinge out of the hips, and remember to do both sides. So if you're seated, remember to look up rather than down at your feet, and lift that chest and keep those big breaths of inhale, exhale going. Okay, so we're still resisting the side of our thighs, in their thighs, out our thighs. Alrighty. Now I have to pick things up in my everyday world. Not sure about you, but it's called a deadlift. So you have to do it properly or you will injure your back, low back, upper back. So we don't want to lift something too heavy. You can either use 2 bands or 1. I'm going to use 2. And imagine, wow, one's a lot shorter than the other. The green one is more resistive. It's okay, because sometimes we lift something, it's harder on one side, heavier than the other. So you can set one foot on the other. All right, my feet are too wide apart. Bring them in just a comfortable hip distance. Without the band moving, you're just going to tip over, hinging at your hips. My eyes are about 6 feet on the ground in front of me, so the back of my neck is long and the front of my neck is long. And I'm hinging over as if I was picking something up, but I can't get my knees bent, okay? Let's pretend it's the bumper of the car. So I'm gonna bend over just enough and then stand up. So sometimes you can't bend your knees to lift. That's why we call it a deadlift. You can call it whatever you want. This is what I call a no-knee bend and hinging from the hips. If you only have 1 band, let's keep going. You can do one side at a time. If it's long enough, you can do both. So from the side view, I'm going to pick up that object, can't bend the knees, it's coming out of the trunk of my car, and then I'm going to lift it up. Maybe I'm going to add a curl. Okay, so stand first, then pick it up more. Okay? Try not to do the motion, one and then the other. Try to do one and then the other. Up first, then the arms. Or maybe you're just picking it up and the arms come by your side. So give that a choice. If you only have 1 band, do one side at a time. Feet close, but still parallel. And just practice still a deadlift. Use your upper back muscles. Alrighty, continue on the second side. Go ahead and pause it. Last thing we're going to do is our triceps. I'm a big fan of keeping these muscles right here strong. So I'm hoping you can see my arms. Please do not pull this behind your head. We're not toweling off the back of our head. We want to keep it in front of our forehead, or if your shoulders won't do that, like goalposts, bring it down to below your chin, okay? I also recommend gaze upward a little bit, and we're just going to use our muscles to push out, and slowly, this is your triceps, let them come back in. So push out and control your speed. I'm really feeling both of my shoulder blades hugging in towards my spine. My chest is lifting, not my gaze, but my chest. My shoulder blades are hugging in towards my spine. At the same time, my shoulders are not hiking up. I'm trying to let my shoulder blades go down towards my waistband, my thighs, my heels. So picture about what your upper back is doing, not just your biceps and triceps. If your arms are okay, as long as it's in front of the face. Come on down for increased safety. If the arms are way overhead, just remember, don't put it behind the head. So this is a really good all-in-one. My core, stomach, everything's working. So these are some ideas. We only have 30 minutes. I would love to do even more, but just enough so you're not overwhelmed. Pick one exercise to do a day. Thank you so much for joining me. Please come to the St. Joe Lincoln Senior Center by website or when we reopen. Thank you for joining me.